Good, hello, and welcome to this online course. And thank you for participating in the course. My name is Janet Gagan Martin. I'm a consultant working with the Climate Change and Environment Statistics Unit in the Statistics Division at the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean. Here we're looking at types of data sources for environment statistics, and we'd like to note that environment statistics uses a wide range of data that come from various different types of sources. The data comes from many institutions, and those institutions have different collection and compilation methods. So it is important to understand and um, the advantages and disadvantages of each type of source that is used in the production of environment statistics. The most common types are censuses, surveys, and administrative records. And there are other types such as monitoring stations, remote sensing, estimation, and modeling that are more specific for collecting environment statistics. So to go further into the types of data sources, censuses are usually used to collect data on population, on housing, on economic establishments and agricultural establishments. Surveys are mainly used to collect data in households on migration and fertility, employment and economic activities, as well as on the environment. Using administrative records, we'll find that this is usually for government agencies such as ministries and public service agencies, and they are usually used to collect data on water, land, energy, forestry, fishing, education, health, and budgets, among others. Remote sensing is used to collect data on forestry or for cadastral mapping, and also for classifications of the use and coverage, contamination of water in lakes and lagoons. Monitoring systems usually collect data on the quality of water, both inland and marine water, on air pollutants, on the climate, and on soil types and pollution. Estimates and models are usually used for regressions, simulation, extrapolation, and interpolation. And scientific research looks at projects and studies, and we'll go into those in more detail. So looking at the common types of data sources. So censuses look at the structural data of the population that is under study, and you can look at the country, a province, a parish, a region in the country, and also analysis of the households, dwellings, people, the economic establishments and agricultural units. Using surveys, we collect data from a representative sample of the population or a universe of study. And examples of these types of surveys are on households, household expenses, economic establishments, agricultural entities, and also on solid waste and water resources. Administrative records looks at a series of data on an action which is subject to regulation or control by a public or private entity as part of its function. So we look at taxation, health, other administrative parts of government, and examples are also used on solid waste and water resources. So on censuses, as we have said, we collect data from entire population of interest or universe, and we look at the people in households and in dwellings, and we can also look at have censuses of economic establishments and for agriculture. So the scale of the census allows for data disaggregation by the country, state, or municipality. And they are usually carried out under confidentiality and statistical secretly, and usually done every 10 years. Of course, there are some countries that do censuses every 5 years, but those are rare. So surveys, as we have said, apply to a representative portion of the population and are usually defined based on specific sampling methods. For environment statistics, you usually find that the questions are included in modules that are related to the environment and collect general data, such as on solid waste and water resources. Environmental surveys are designed according to the objective of producing the environment statistics. Unfortunately, these are not always feasible due to budget constraints, and data with an environmental dimension can sometimes be obtained from other statistical surveys with the primary objective to produce, for example, demographic, social, and economic types of statistics. Administrative records can be obtained from many government agencies and can be transformed into environment statistics. Administrative records are generally produced to document administrative, legal, and internal health, foreign exchange, education, and commercial processes, among others. The advantages here is that it is a lower cost compared to other sources such as censuses and surveys. The response load to the respondent is minimized, and there's usually a complete coverage for units within the administrative area. There are some limitations, such as there may be different terms and statistical definitions when you compare the administrative data to the needs for the environment data. There's a risk that the data can be manipulated. The data sometimes may not be validated for statistical purposes, as well as for environmental reasons. You may find that, for environmental records, you may find that there are sometimes restrictions on the access to data, as well as the data coverage, although may be complete for the administrative purposes, may not match the requirements needed for environment statistics. When we look at remote sensing, we'll find that the advantages here is that data can be collected for dangerous and inaccessible places in the country. And we can also capture a lot of data for large areas without having to enter the territory. It may be cheaper and faster to use remote sensing, and using this type of data does not disturb the area during the data collection process. Sensors can be included in satellites using aircraft, helicopters, buoys or ships, balloons, and probes. And the results of the data processing can be presented in the forms of images, maps, and classifications. The most probably the best known use of this is for the measurement of forest cover. Other uses for the comparison of the impact of natural and technological disasters. We can also look at soil erosion and contamination extent of the soil or water. You can also look at the verification, can be used to verify changes in land cover and to estimate the populations of animal species. Remote sensing, when combined with proper ground verification and direct measurements, can provide high quality data for environment statistics. Monitoring systems can be on-site or remote. and they capture quantitative and qualitative elements of the environment, environment pollution, as well as meteorological, hydrological, or atmospheric parameters. The advantages here is that the data are usually collected using verifiable scientific methods. The data is validated while being collected because through the use of calibrated instruments. Data is available in long series and over relevant geographic areas, and models can also be used to improve the data quality. The possible limitations of using monitoring systems is that field monitoring stations are usually located in highly contaminated or sensitive areas, or where large numbers of exposed or affected populations are observed. And this is for the use of the collection by the agency involved, and may not be always useful, may not always cover the entire environmental area. The measurements and data will be site-specific and may be difficult to aggregate. Using models and estimations by regression, simulation, extrapolation, and interpolation is also useful for environment statistics. Linear interpretation is useful when looking for a value between given points, and linear extrapolation uses a subset of the data instead of all the data universe, and this is shown in this graph, which is quite useful. Another type of data collection method is by scientific research, where the main advantages are that data are available at no or low costs. The response burden is minimized. They can be used to fill gaps in series of other data that has been collected, and they are also useful for determining technical coefficients for models. The limitations can be that the data may be based on terms and definitions other than those used in the statistical domain. The access to microdata may be limited, and as well as there may be a lack of metadata, which is necessary for environment statistics. Data coverage is also local and may not be widespread enough. It may be only for specific cases, and they may find also that there is little continuity in the production of this type of data. Thank you very much, and I hope this has been useful for you.